What's up, everybody? I'm Damon Hatfield, one of IGN's big Far Cry fans, and Ubisoft just unveiled Far Cry 6, and you know Far Cry games always have great villains. I'm joined now by someone who has played a few good villains and is the main antagonist in Far Cry 6, none other than Giancarlo Esposito. You know him from Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Mandalorian, and many, many other great shows and movies. Giancarlo, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Pleasure to be here, especially to be talking about this new and fantastic game, Far Cry 6.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm having a real fanboy moment here because I love Far Cry and I love your work as an actor. Breaking Bad is my favorite show of all time. I'm sure you hear that a lot, but it's true. So to have these two things coming together, it's like, man, what did I do to deserve this?
You showed up. That's all you have to do. And you're a fan and probably know a little bit about gaming, probably more than I do. But it certainly was a wonderful thing to be involved in this particular game, playing Anton Castillo, the dictator who rules with an iron hand. It's a new world for me, and one that's not only been so kind and compassionate in teaching me how to operate and how to act in this world that's all-inclusive, as are the Far Cry games.
Sure. So tell us a little bit about Anton.
Anton is a dictator, and just by nature of the word, of course, it seems like he may be dictating what he wants for his people, but he comes from a very a silver spoon. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His father was a dictator before him, and he wants to empower the people to take their country back. His goal is to use the resources that they have within the country to survive without allowing outsiders to come in and co-opt their scientists, their intellectual property, all of these things. So he really means good, but he's in a world that's moving progressively forward faster than he is. And he has to find the assets that his people have to be able to exploit those assets and allow his people to believe in him. All this in the midst of a civil revolution that's happening in his country by several different factions that he's got to put down. And he's trying to raise a son. So you get his humanity and who he is through the wonderful story and the wonderful place where this particular story takes place. Esperanza is this idyllic land that had all this possibility that went awry, that, of course, Anton Castillo wants to restore.
You mentioned Anton's son, Diego, played by Anthony Gonzalez from Coco. What's his relationship with his son like?
Hats off to Anthony Gonzalez. He's such a wonderful, wonderful actor, really engaging. It really is our relationship in the story that brings the story to bear. His relationship is he's impatient. His son isn't as grown as he wants him to be. He wants him to grow up faster. He wants to give him the skills and empower him to know that he has the power over life and death. Very difficult thing for a young man just going through puberty to get wrapped around. How do you turn your back on being youthful and grow up quickly to be groomed to take over a little small island nation?
Yeah, what can you tell us about this nation? And you mentioned there's a lot of civil unrest. Is it set in the present day, Far Cry 6?
I believe it is set in the present day. For me, you could even see it as being a little futuristic in my brain. Because of the way the visuals coupled with this, making this lush island a paradise. And a lot of our conversations in our dialogue speaks to it as being a paradise. So it makes me think of Winston Churchill when he went to Uganda years ago. He said that was the jewel of Africa. It had everything. And that was my vision in what I saw in creating the world of Esperanza. It was feeling as if I'm in this lush place that had no means to get out the cucumbers and the potatoes. It had no means to really market the beautiful flowers to the world, that had no leadership, hadn't followed through to be able to take advantage of their assets and yet keep them still at home. So this guy Anton's really complicated, yet he knows he has to rule with an iron fist and put down the revolutionaries to be able to start the process of healing to begin.
Well, speaking of those revolutionaries, I believe the player will be playing as one of them. The debut trailer introduced us to your character and your son, but we haven't seen the hero yet. So what is Anton's relationship with the player's character? Typically in Far Cry games, there's such an emphasis on the villain that the villain gets a lot of screen time with the player.
Without a doubt, and certainly it happens as such in this. There are some pieces of this that have brought us up to real time. The allowance of having the hero of the game be many different things. You know, it could be you, it could be me, it could be a dog, could be my sister, right? Just the possibility of that is allows your interaction with the game to become deeper and to really feel that you're living that life, or could be. So this game will have that plus, because if I've been able to render my performance properly, and then it's been properly transformed and digitized into Anton Castillo that I'd like you to see, you're going to be completely engaged by the screen time that you are able to spend with Anton and with Diego.
How was it different portraying a character in a video game than it is on film?
It's so different, and always a very pertinent question. You know, I'm in a motion capture suit when I'm playing Anton, with markers on every joint of my elbows and wrists and fingers, gloves, and the whole deal, with equipment on that records all of my facial movements very closely. And I'm also being recorded by other cameras within the physical activity of a wider shot of the scene. So we can actually put all of you guys right there. But I have no props. I have no elements. I have no costume per se than the very odd motion capture jumpsuit. So I have to create all that whole world and what I see and feel and what's real. Like, you know, when I do this and talking to you, I can feel my button here. You know, when I'm working, I don't have that. You know, I have to create that. So it's a different way of acting. It's taught me a great deal. It's allowed me to be more present and allow me to connect with my scene partner more than ever, because that's the only thing you have to hold on to. In this setting, I loved it. I felt like I was collaborating. My ideas were taken seriously, because most people, you know, they come to me and they say villain, and I want to run away. You know, I want to create, you know what I mean? I want to create a character, someone real. Yeah, it could be villainous, and yeah, all that's good. But to create a human being is different. And so that's what we were after. I had the experience of, you know, being on Mandalorian and being in a world that I have to create, you know, that's all site specific and all in a volume world, but at least I have a costume. With this, you know, it's scratch. It's coming from the beginning. It's emotional layers. It's relationship layers. And so, gosh, I'm in gratitude to be a part of this whole process.
The tradition of Far Cry games having great bad guys really started with Far Cry 3. And that bad guy was named Voss and was portrayed by your Better Call Saul co-star, Michael Mondo. That's really cool that you're sort of like carrying on the mantle of that tradition here.
Well, you know, look, these guys are very specific in their writing, and very, very extremely even more specific and timely in what they do with their technology. And the coupling of that with a real humanity to bring it to life has been an honor. And so they get good actors. And Michael Mondo certainly is a great actor. Love him, great friend. And so happy to be, I guess, in this case, following in his footsteps.
As I said before, Far Cry 6 represents two things I love coming together. I couldn't be more excited for it. Giancarlo, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. And I look forward to seeing your work both in Far Cry 6 and the myriad other projects that you're involved in.
Thanks so much, Damon. It's been a real pleasure to be with you and all your fans. Thank you.